Hey everyone, I'm Michael, traveling the world, and today we are in Boston at the Freedom Trail starting point. So it opens at 8:30 every single day, and you can get souvenirs in there. You can also get brochures for many things, including the Freedom Trail. You can get a brochure or an audio guide for $7 there, and also you can get a brochure in Spanish for $9. And of course, all the typical souvenirs you can also get. You can also get souvenirs outside of it, as outside of the visitor centers as well. The visitor center, for just so you know, is in Boston Commons, and like on the edge, and also you need to know that walking tours with the neatly dressed people, as Yellow Productions calls them, neatly dressed people. Well, they're dressed as colonists. Like, you see that guy behind me, that guy's dressed as James Otis. We'll get into him in a little bit. But now, how do you do the Freedom Trail? So you're gonna get oriented with the red brick line over there, and you're gonna follow it all the way from the visitor center. See the red brick line? Yeah, it starts at the visitor center and goes out. You then need to follow it and stop at the sites and learn about them. So what are the sites we're going to be seeing today? So we're going to be seeing sites from the American Revolution, and we're going to be learning about them, and we're going to be exploring all the famous figures of the American Revolution: Samuel Adams, Benjamin Franklin, and Thomas Paine, James Otis, and of course we're going to stop at the Massachusetts State Capitol with that golden dome. I'll show you that. And then we're going to finish in the north end with Bunker Hill Monument and the USS Constitution and museum. So now let's get started, and let's go hit our first site following the red brick line. Okay, so the way we're going to go about learning about the sites and learning about the events of the Revolution is we're going to go from the revolutionary figures themselves. We're going to go and learn about Paul Revere and Benjamin Franklin and Samuel Adams, and then through them we will learn the sites. But first we have to see a place where we can learn about all of them, and then we will branch out into each individual one. So let's go to that place, and I'll show you it. So we are at the Granary burying ground. This is where many revolutionary figures are buried. Many important people like John Hancock, Paul Revere, James Otis, and Samuel Adams, Peter Faneuil, and so much more. So so most of the sites along the Freedom Trail are mostly about one event or one person. This one is not like that. This site, this cemetery, is about many people. It has many people, very important people. Okay, so now we're gonna learn about each of the revolutionary figures one by one. So we're gonna start with Paul Revere. So we're gonna start with Paul Revere related sites, as I just told you, which are going to include his house, the Old North Church, and of course the Boston Massacre site. So Paul Revere, kind of like Benjamin Franklin, even though they had different professions, was a Renaissance man. He did many things, even though he lived a few centuries after the Renaissance. He was a silversmith, an engraver, an industrialist, a revolutionary, a dentist, and so much more. He uh, so so first we're gonna look at his house. I'll post a picture of it, and like from the exterior. I don't have any interior pictures because they didn't allow me to take pictures there. So the least I could do was take pictures of the tourist office nearby where you could. So so that's in Boston's Little Italy district in the North End, and we'll get to Little Italy in a little bit in this episode later, and then we'll get to and then I'll show you a lot of Little Italy, much more in a later episode on food in Boston. So then we have the Old North Church, which is where they put up the lanterns to signal how the British were going to Lexington, because British were going to Lexington to destroy colonial weapons. And then Paul Revere and William Dawes and Sam Prescott all took separate routes to Lexington to fight the British. Then and then nobody really knows who fired the first shot, but Paul Revere still made accounts of how it was the British who did. Whether you believe it or not is up to you. So then we have also the Boston Massacre site, because he made that very famous pro-American, pro-colonist, well, there wasn't America yet, but pro-colonist, pro-patriot image of the Boston Massacre, with the colonists all looking so innocent and the British just shooting them down. And this was actually where the term Boston Massacre was coined, since it was due to this exact thing. It was Paul Revere's painting. And also, he played a major role in the Boston Tea Party. He in the Old South Meeting House. I'll show you that right now after I finish. So I'll show you right now the Old South Meeting House. Behind me is the Old South Meeting House, which is where the calls for the Boston Tea Party occurred. They met here instead of at Faneuil Hall. They met here to discuss the current political issues of Boston in the Revolution, from the Boston Massacre to the Tea Act to the coercive acts, which closed down Boston Harbor, and also was a big important site after the Revolution. It was a meeting point during the first Red Scare in the 1920s, and also right across the street from it, there is a memorial to the Irish victims of the Irish famine, and this is like a big deal, because like Massachusetts did get a lot of Irish immigration. For example, John F. Kennedy, who was the 35th president, was from Massachusetts, and his family came from Ireland. Now, let's move on. Okay, so that old building behind me is the Old State House, and that is where business was carried out in Massachusetts when it was a British colony. That's where the governor and of course his body and the legislative bodies in here met, and also like right here-ish, like right here is where the Boston Massacre happened, where the 5 people were killed, and where the riot happened, and
and so on. You'll learn all about that in the museum.
Okay, so here we are at the Massachusetts State Capitol. So you see that golden dome on top? It's actually not that much gold. You can actually, if you go up there during non-COVID times, because right now it's not open to go inside, you can actually kind of scrape it off, and it actually will be the size of a softball. The reason there is that gold dome on there is because first they put wooden shingles, and that just caused leaks. Then they put copper, that turned green. And then the only thing that gave them the color that they really wanted was gold. So that's what they were stuck with. On the other side of the Capitol, you have monuments to the Massachusetts firefighters and Massachusetts police that you can go see. And now let's go to the next site on the Freedom Trail. Alright, so this will be part 1 of the Freedom Trail. Part 2 is coming up later. In part 2, we'll talk about other revolutionaries, and I will also talk about tips and about food along the way. So, other sites coming up later, and also other videos from Boston, like Harvard, like a video on Harvard and other other districts of Boston, like the Seaport District and Back Bay, and then also another video on a very good day trip option from Boston, very popular one, but very good, a video on Plymouth and on Quincy. Thank you very much. Have a great day. Hope you enjoyed it, and hope you subscribe.